So when you come into the club rooms, you'll notice on the floor, there's a straight line along here. Now this is where the original club rooms were, which from here through to that wall there. And there's a big block wall here. And the original club rooms, when they built them, that was the visitors, where the women's toilet is, that was the visitors' changing room. And where the chiller is and everything out there, out the back, was our changing room. And in between where the men's toilet is, used to be the shower block and the toilets. So this hall is here, and the front wall, walk around, this front wall was along here, underneath this big beam here, this big steel beam in here. So this was the original front wall, and the entranceway went out here onto a ramp and out over there into the original ground. And the original ground was the level there where you go outside. And they built it all up. The paddock used to slant up. The goalposts up the top were probably about the height where they are now. And the ground used to slope up there towards the orchard. So back into the room here, up at this end here, there was two wee cubicles. Where the bar is, there was a wee hole up the end there, probably about 8 feet wide in the old mint, 2.4, and that used to be the bar, and there used to be the kitchen on the other side. So the kitchen, you used to go through the kitchen to the bar, and all the old boys used to stand in that bloody corner over there, and you couldn't get to the toilets, including my father and Norman Shanks and all those old boys.
So Hedge, pretty small room. How many people would be crammed into this room afterwards?
In those days we would have had 3 or 4 open grades, I suppose. What did we have? We had under 17s, second grade. When I started, we had the second grade and the third grade and an under 18 side, or under 17 and a half, I think it was called in those days. And the guys on the committee used to be the coaches. Shit, they're good buggers, those guys.
Am I right in saying that the youngsters, the 17-year-olds, didn't get to drink in here very often? They were sort of hurried off?
No, you weren't. They let you have a wee drink, but they would only let you have one drink, and then you were told to go home to your mother. So, and it was built by all these guys up here. There's bloody Bird, Neville Pringle. Some of the older guys, like Keith Stewart down there, they all, Huey Mackey, they're all, it was all done voluntary. And a lot of the guys worked at Hillside and the cement work. So you can see this, like this foundation of the original building is about 2 feet bloody wide. And it's got railway irons for reinforcing, like it's absolutely huge. So, and it was all ready mixed concrete, like they just used to gravel. Guy Shanks over here used to bring the gravel in these trucks, and the cement works would supply all the cement and shit. They worked here Sundays and everything.
Few perkies there.
Oh, well. Then they would finish about 2 o'clock, and the old keg come out. We'd be one of those wee aluminium kegs with a wooden tap, you know, and they used to tap the thing and have a beer before they buggered off.
So the floor down here, just noticing, if you didn't know, I mean, you can see the joint, but how did you match the timber when you extended the hall? How did they do that?
Well, funny enough, when we extended the hall, the firm I worked for actually got the contract, so we extended it from here. We extended it from here to that, where the gap, you know, where the wall starts down there, the outside wall, it went to there. And it was just the same type of building. It was the big steel beams up the top and everything. But I mean, that's easy enough to match. You just buy the timber the same and they just matched it up.
What is that timber?
That's Remu.
Remu?
Grade, yeah.
Very good.
So that was another extension. I remember doing this extension, and we put the new kitchen on for the girls. They had a women's committee in those days, and they used to do the kitchen and all that. So by Christ, I'll tell you what, they used to rule the club. They were pretty strong. Yeah, what they said used to go. another extension which it was a firm in Fairfield, which I worked for, Fulton back, rebuilt this piece here. And then later on in the 60s, we extended again, which was from here, this wall here, right round. And Bezett Builders got that contract, that was funny enough, and that was fucking me again. So I've worked on most of it really. So, and we built all this through here, and it was done by an architect in town, the guy, what was his name? Joker Dalzell, who was a Green Island guy. I think Brother John got him onto the job, and so we built all this out here. And it was pretty successful. It's turned out to be quite an outstanding clubrooms now. Actually, it's used quite often for funerals and stuff, weddings and that sort of thing. It's very good.
So Hedge, back in the 60s, when we came into the senior competition, we used to play away. We didn't actually play on Miller Park. Tell us about those days. How did that work?
So we didn't play, like when the boys won the second grade competition, well actually Port Chalmers and Green Island were pretty tight. They brought us into the senior B, they made it senior A and senior B. And then we moved from Miller Park and that to play, and all the club football then was played at Carisbrook, Tahuna Park and Varsity Oval. So you didn't go back to many people's clubs at all. So you would just have a quick beer with the team you played. And then we used to come back to the clubrooms. So they were pretty good days, and the second grade team done very well. I think they started winning, and then it must have been the late 60s, I suppose. We started. We actually, I remember I was playing. We beat Southern on Carisbrook to win the Galloway Trophy, and that put us up into the A section. And we haven't looked back since, really. It's been some good teams. And that team, that year, I think there was 9 of us in that team, all from the one street. We all lived in Scotland Terrace. The Jaffray boys, Johnny Driver, 4 Bezetts, of course, Jaffrays, Brucey Milne, Morton and Kearney, Potbury. So we're all from the one street in there and one team. It was pretty good. So
just, you've mentioned Mort's name a couple of times, and our lounge is now called the Morton Potbury Lounge. Tell us a bit, the boys that are old enough to remember his addresses after the games. What made Mort so special?
Morton was pretty special. He spoke his mind, Morton. He hated Southern's guts. And he didn't take any shit, Morton. I mean, what he said went, and he was the club captain for a long time, Morton, and what Morton said you had to do, because he was a pretty good guy, pretty special fella, really.
But did it with a lot of humour too, I hear.
Done it with a lot of humour, and he was an auctioneer, of course, so you know what his voice was like. He was a bloody great booming voice. He used to do the aftermatch speeches. And there would always be a wee bit of humour that he would come up with over a summary mark or something like that. Morton was pretty good at that.